Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good Tvach, Shvat Tov, Good Chodesh, Chodesh Tov. We are learning Mishna Yes Rosh Hashanah, Parak Aleph, Chapter 1, Mishnah Ches, Mishnah 8. Okay. Elu Hein Apsulin. These are the people who are disqualified for testifying about the new moon to establish Rosh Chodesh. Hamasachek Bakubia, one who plays dice for money. Plays dice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dice playing.
Now, why would a person who plays dice? Why would that person be invalidated for being a witness? So let's talk about it here. The Torah says, "Al tashes yatcha im rasha liyos eid chamas." Do not collaborate with a wicked person to be a false witness. The Gemara derives from this verse that a wicked person, that's one category, and a thieving witness who steals, are biblically disqualified for giving testimony. A wicked person is one who commits a biblical transgression that is punishable by death or lashes. That's a rasha, that's a wicked person who is invalidated from testifying. And a thieving witness is someone who steals, even if he is not subject to any kind of lashes or death penalty to it, which typically is the case. All right. So that's the Torah. Torah says a rasha can't be a witness, and let's just call it an aganif can't be a witness. Okay. The sages included in the category of a thieving witness anyone who violates the law for monetary gain. You could have someone that is violating the law because of monetary gain. Are they necessarily halachically stealing? It's a difference that maybe not. But once they start doing something, once they start doing things that they shouldn't be doing for money, the Rabbanan, midrabbanan, according to rabbinic law, they are going to be forbidden for being a witness, they're invalidated for being a witness. Okay, so now the people that are going to be listed in the Mishnah now that we're going to be talking about are pasal edim. They are disqualified witnesses midrabbanan, according to rabbinic law. Since these people are not biblically disqualified, the sages deem them eligible to testify in some areas of law, as applied to the end of the Mishnah. Okay, now, so right now we're establishing that most of those examples that we're going to bring in the Mishnah are all psulim. They are disqualified from being a witness, but midrabbanan, according to rabbinic law, and we'll see why each one is not necessarily would not be possible, would not be invalidated minat Torah. So the first example we gave is Mesach Bekuvia. He plays dice, right? So one who gambles does. Now here's the reason. So what's the problem? What's the problem with the dice player? One who gambles. Now listen, it's a very important principle. One who gambles does so thinking that he will win. He does not fully consider the possibility that he will lose. That's the nature of a gambler. Thus, his commitment to pay in the event of a loss was not made with full intent. There's something missing in his intent to give away his money. This is a form of what's called in halachic terms asmachta. That's the term, which means a monetary commitment that was made without expecting that it would have to be fulfilled. And asmachta is not legally binding. It's not legally binding. Therefore, a gambler who collects his winnings is committing a form of theft, and the sages qualified him from testifying. His disqualification is only rabbinic, because the loser paid the money of his own accord without the winner having to seize it from him. I'm not a ganef. I'm not stealing if I'm gambling. The person gave away his money. I didn't take it away from him. He gave it away. The point is, though, that because he's not like fully, he wasn't expecting to completely to be giving away his money, so therefore it's not binding monetarily. You have to give him back his money. But if you don't give him back his money, you're not a ganef, you're not a thief. And therefore, the disqualification is midrabbanan. It's according to rabbinic law. Okay? All right, now. So in this and all the following cases where someone broke the law for profit, we suspect that he might take a bribe to testify falsely. That's the problem here. The ones that are rabbinically prohibited are invalidated are the ones where they broke the law for profit. Now, breaking the law here means, again, you don't have to be a thief to break the law. You're breaking the law because the law is that you're supposed to give back the money. In the case of the gambling, If he didn't give back, and so if he didn't give it back, that means for money profit, he's breaking the law. He's doing the wrong thing. Such a person, we're afraid that he'll take bribes. And therefore, the Rabban and the sages invalidated him as a witness. And that's going to be some of the other examples. Now, the next example, umalve beribis, someone who lends money with interest. Okay, now, the Torah forbids charging interest on a loan to a fellow Jew. Thus, one who collects interest is taking another's money illegally, which is theft. However, as in the previous case, he is disqualified only under rabbinic law from giving testimony. He is not biblically disqualified because the borrower voluntarily agreed to pay him, and he did not have to take the money, and he did not have to take the money by force. So the truth is, it's very interesting. It is forbidden to do. It's forbidden to do. It's forbidden to collect such money, but you're still not called a thieving witness according to Torah law because he gave it a money. He didn't force it away from him. He gave it a money. And therefore, you wouldn't be midaraisa invalidated as a thief. However, but the sages, the rabbis, did invalidate you because, again, for money, you're breaking the law. Next, mafri chayonim. Mafri chayonim is people who race pigeons, pigeon racers. Okay, they basically take their pigeons and whoever wins, they place the money on the bet which pigeon's gonna win, and that's another form of gambling. Okay, pigeon
like the horses, the same thing.
Yeah, the same thing. The horse, right? The same thing. Now, I guess they didn't have cockfights then; they just had pigeon races. All right, people who do business with Shemitah. Now, that's prohibited to do. The Torah forbids you to do business with your Shemitah produce. If it's the Shemitah year, the produce grew, you're not allowed to go and do business with it. Okay. At the end of the day, though, right, if you did business with it, did you steal anything? Didn't steal anything. You may have been transgressing a prohibition. It is not a prohibition that carries a death penalty or lashes for it. Okay. And you're not stealing anything. The person is giving you their money willingly. Nonetheless, because you're breaking the law because of money, the sages invalidate you from being a witness. And the last example is mavodim, slaves, Gentile slaves. That's a Torah disqualification. That's not a rabbinic disqualification. That's a Torah disqualification.
Gentile slave?
Gentile slave. A Canaanite slave, Eved Canaani as it's called, it's a Gentile slave, is biblically disqualified from testifying as the Gemara derives from the Torah. There's a verse for it. Okay. Now they bring in here an interesting idea. What's the Mishnah? Why is the Mishnah going ahead and listing this here specifically? Although our Mishnah focuses on rabbinic disqualifications, it listed this biblical disqualification as well. It could have been thought that just as relatives are eligible to testify about the new moon according to Reb Shimon, remember that opinion we had previously? Reb Shimon said relatives who are typically disqualified from being witnesses can testify together when it comes to the new moon. So we might have thought that maybe slaves would be the same thing. Therefore, to correct this mistake, together with the other ones that we listed as invalid to testify about the new moon, we brought in slaves also, even though slaves are a Torah disqualification, while the other examples we gave are rabbinic disqualifications. Now the Mishnah concludes the following. Zeh klal, this is the rule. Kol edus she'ena isha kasher la, any testimony that a woman cannot testify regarding, af hein, so too these people we listed, einam ksherim la, are not valid for it. So again, let's just get the words. The words are any testimony for which a woman is not eligible, such as testifying on the new moon, they too, all these that we're mentioning until now, are also ineligible to testify about the new moon. But this implies that any testimony that a woman is eligible to testify about, these people can also do that. Now, what testimony is a woman eligible to testify about? And the answer is the following. A woman can testify that a man has died, thereby enabling his wife to remarry. That's a Gemara. That's a whole discussion in Masechta Yevamos. A woman who typically is not a kosher witness can testify that a woman's husband died to allow her to remarry. And if I'm not mistaken, right? That an eved, one second. Right. An eved, a slave, can also testify the same thing.
A Jewish slave.
No, a Canaanite slave can also testify about it. A non-Jewish slave can also testify about it. A woman can testify, he can testify. Not only can they testify, but all these that we mentioned in our Mishnah that were invalid midrabanan, the rabbis disqualified them from testifying about the new moon. They may testify about these things to allow a woman to remarry because her husband died. That's what it means when the Mishnah says, whatever testimony they can't do, so too these can't do. Whatever testimony a woman can't do, they can't do. Implied that a woman could do, they could do, which means to say that they would be able, but any testimony for which a woman is eligible, such as the death of a husband, so too they too are eligible. So all these people, the gambler, the person who lent with interest, although they cannot testify about the new moon, nonetheless, they can't testify about many other things. But when it comes like any kind of a loan, regarding a loan or regarding kedusha, to be a witness to a marriage, they couldn't do that. But when it comes to these things that a woman would be able to testify about, they too can testify. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
And a good and Kodesh.
Good and Chodesh.